time was to show forth the other side of the world. And that principle has always been raised amongst the ancient Israel, one call them Antenna, one call them Tamar, and one call us. And the principle is called marriage. It's the first principle of every era. And the sacred gathering spot is called Wasset. It will be translated as Karnak, Asaru, but the sacred spot in the sacred tent was called Wasset. You hear me? And the symbol was called Mat. Mat has been often interpreted to mean justice. I think in the Islamic world, the best interpretation of Mat became jihad. And those amongst them that were physical took jihad to mean physical war. And those amongst them called the mutasawwif, or the Sufi, took jihad to mean a spiritual struggle inside oneself against justice or injustice. The Quran even said, injustice and partiality cannot be tolerated. So the symbol relating to the auspice that may have noticed in the hieroglyphs, many of your ancestors or deities are the symbol of the auspice. That's called Malachi. That's the foundation of all mystical orders worldwide. Be they Native American, Freemason, SCN, Magus, Knights of Columbus, Shriners, Theosophical Society, Asaru, Rosicrucian, all go back to the man. This is why we say one of the first pieces needed was quill. The quill, which is the thing with all the inscriptions of the deity Tahuti, was the auspice that the prophet made use of the scribes to write the many books of ancient Egypt that most people today have forgotten. But that was our symbol. Remember that symbol, Mat. Represents the struggle within inside. This is why they chose the feather, because the feather is a very sturdy object, but in the wind it fluctuates. But it will flow with the wind. You notice the Native Americans put feathers on the island to make it stare straightly. But in ancient Egypt, that same symbol represented the spirit of the cock and the bob. Through these troubled times, these winds, we call them sentimental winds of life. The pressures come down. The person that had a strong inner side survived. The person who's a weak inner side falls to the inside. Always. Those people whose principles in the wu-nuwaupu are based on the spiritual thing who survive any changes. Just as those people who are Asaru spiritual, regardless of where the surface went, they were still Asaru. Whether we was calling ourselves Hebrews, or Milwaukeeans, Native Americans, or Cowboys, whatever we call ourselves, because very roots in what we're doing in the spiritual, not in the physical appearance of being a Muslim, wearing a top gear, wearing gender gear. That wasn't where they were at. They were there spiritual. They were a cosmos. They were a part of the cosmos. The earth, that word that stirs inside each one of us. And we get anchored in the word. And the foundation of this, the word is true or false. False manifests in the physical, truth always in the spiritual. So you can't lie in the spiritual sense. You cannot lie to your soul, as you cannot lie to yourself. That's why in the language, Hebrew had Nakish and Arabic Nafsi. And he had combined the word spirit and self as one word. Do not lie to you. Do not betray your spiritual self. You tell yourself the truth. So you are your best master. Yes, you are your best God. Because you cannot lie to God. And the only being that you can have contact with, you cannot lie to is yourself. So God, therefore, becomes the judge of the judge. That's what he said, I am that I am. repeating I am Christ. I am that I am. He said, I am that which I am. I am whom I am. Then the Father says, outer part is outer being and his inner being. He never told his name. When they ask you his name, say I am that I am. You have to learn the principle that I am that I am. That it means what you see is what you get. It's very simple. It sounds complicated. It turns into all these different mystical interpretations in the Kabbalah of the Jews. It simply means I am that I am. No more, no less. So cosmosis, if we're going to spend this evening before we go into a ritual, is to ask some questions about the spiritual. You can, because there's several levels here of cosmosis. Everybody's not on the same level. So you can't ask me questions and expect me to answer questions from the white or black level. And then the crimson level, you can get the answers to lessons they haven't studied yet, or degrees they haven't gotten into. So you have to be wise enough to have the question vague enough that I can answer it vague enough in order not to probe into what is not ready for certain people, what not ready for. Alright? Any questions? I know one thing everybody keeps asking me, this is in our principles it says you gotta take a long walk on a short path. So what do you mean by that? What it means is, I said that back way back in 1970. What I mean by that is we had a very short period of time to take a long walk. It takes most people a lifetime to be just a Christian. Or a lifetime to be a Jew, or a lifetime to be an Egyptologist. And I said, well, between now and between 1970 and 2000, we have 30 years. You got to take a long walk on a short path. A short path was 30 years. The long walk was the amount of information, the amount of schools of thought that you would have to go through to be transformed from mortals to immortality, transformed back into gods, back into deity, back into nature. It was a long journey for a very short path. That's what it means. As long as we're good cosmos, you've got to learn to take a long walk on a short path. And most of you who've walked with me for years have gotten so much information that you baffle the normal pedestrian when they encounter you on the streets. How could you possibly know that much information? Well, the answer is when I took a long walk on a short path. Your strong is one of the long paths. He's taking you to short on the stage. You have any questions? Yes. Maybe so much. What do you do about the knowledge you just did? Like, with the people that came, the wu-nuwaupu, how we provided from Egyptian, other people, the hard and effect. That's such a good question, Ms. Frank, because what I found out that you have two types of old times. As I say years ago, old times are faithful and not true. There are two types of old times. Those that were rooted in the community physically, and again, those that were rooted in the community spiritually. Those that are rooted in the community spiritually have a lot of spiritual insight of things they learned in the over the years. And that's their strength. And those that are rooted in the community physically were looking at me the way Musa looked at El-Fidel and thought they knew what he was looking at. Thought he was figuring out what I was doing. And as we found this for someone to look over now and see they never really understood the man he was talking to. You follow? So some of you people who just got here will never be able to have those schools. And you should have had by now spiritual masters raised amongst us who had taken that long walk in the short path and been able to come and instruct y'all in the many experiences that they went through while walking that path with me. Unfortunately, so many of them didn't, because their hearts were moved. They were just here, physically. They wasn't spiritually. They never really heard the message. You know what I mean? So we miss those periods. It doesn't mean, believe me, the old times are good. It's not true. Folks are faithful, like I said, but they're not true to me. They'll be the first one to stand into that. Because they were not groomed to be true. We came into a world of dishonesty and self-preservation and self-righteousness and ego with the reigning force. Introduced them to a culture like Asaru tried to introduce, which meant restraining themselves from the world and their families and everything else. And so most of them couldn't do it. They only pretended they did while they was in Asaru and they were still doing other things they told them not to do. So they never really got the spiritual side of what I was teaching. And we opened the Sons of the Green Light years ago with a Sufi. And we started, and we had to stop because people were taking the lessons and giving them to their loved ones. And passing it to their wife, it was my wife, so it's okay. It was my husband, so it's okay. And the spiritual masters came to me and said, they are dishonoring the secrets and not keeping them sacred. So we must go underground again. And that's why it folded. And we enforce it this time, it will come forth again with short time. A little bit of time to get the job done. And it's time for us to raise it. And if people here can keep the secrets safe, then things will be revealed to them. As of now, I haven't really opened doors to ancient Egypt trees and given you the secrets that we have kept sacred for so long for us. Knowledge that you're supposed to know about yourself, how it all happened. I haven't done it as of yet. I talk about history, I talk about science, I talk about the creation and destruction of the world. But I don't put that elite put aside and pass on those secret words, the words that are acid running from rock so bad. The secret words the Freemasons have been trying to get that give you the power to go. You can't pass it on until you get ready. And you don't know when you're ready when you become your own judge. Okay? So it doesn't make no difference if it was in 20 years or 20 minutes. If you intend to do the right thing, you intend to work by spirit, not by body. You intend to involve, become a part of the waves of the sun's light. It is easy. You won't miss nothing. When you come here, you just want to be part of the mystical order that makes you feel spiritual. You don't take the initiation, you don't follow the instruction, you don't wear things that when you subscribe to lessons, then you just waste your mind and your time. It's just something else to do. Even a Freemason law, they are very serious. And their roles, they just buy their way through 3 years. You know? You just read them and you just walk around, ask the Mason again, and the symbol, and they don't even have a clue of the secrets and the hidden meanings of these things. None whatsoever. But they think they do, they follow the fraternity, they go to the law meetings, they go to conventions, they put on the apron, they put on the great light, they go to the Bible Conference Square, and they learn certain of the triad terms they use, from beginning to as they raise, but they are one of them that they never pass the world off, and they put it back to the world off, and they hit the lighting out. And that light I spoke about several times is a blinding light. On this side of intellect, light is blinding. And the way it teaches students is to teach them about the light. Tell them the light is the knowledge, the light is the intelligence, the light is the intellect, the light is the God, the light is the way, the light is this. The light blinds. Darkness don't blind. All Freemasons are blindfolded. As I mentioned just yesterday, and while they're blindfolded, He might pray if they're waiting in the yards. Someone to remove that blindfold, the inquisitive mind starts to wait. In the darkness, the mind starts to speed up, starts to race. What's going on? What's going to happen? What's coming up next? What's going on? You need this. It's that assessment. It's to say, this wood, you understand? Why the canyon toe? Why my leg? One past leg is. Why this? Why that? About that's when they're divine. Once they remove the blindfold, then they're blind. And hit them with the light of Freemasonry. And start giving them the principles of Freemasonry. And start giving them the tools of Freemasonry. And you put the Bible in there. And you point down the altar. And you open the Bible. And there they can accomplish and square. And you look down and say, these are the three great lights. And you look down. And watch out, three candles that surround the altar. And those are the real three great lights. And you have the person look down. You point down, he looks down. Looking away from the three candles that represent the three suns. You know right there that he is blinded by the light. And that light is the compass in the spirit. And how to build this Bible around him. And reshape him from a God into a real man. You understand? So, in our order, all the symbolism, all the tools that we use, all are geared towards being able to see in dark and avoid the beam of the light. You understand? Yes. See the word? See the word enlightenment? I'm just saying, shall we get it? I'll tell you what. When you get to the point in the enlightenment, that in order to read, in order to study, you still feel there is a, what's the word? Say it again. A void. What follows void in the mind? Void and darkness. Once you finish all the study, all the religious dogma, all the arguments of who's the first and who's the greatest, genetic this and science this, then you still are hungry for something. Right? And that is the spiritual journey from void into darkness. And in darkness is tranquility. The gate taught you the prince of darkness, death, is evil. See the verse? And the light is right. The world bathed in the light. In ancient Egypt, what they had were the three suns that you know as what? Shemesh, Utu, and Asaru. They had it as Atum, and Amun. And those are the three lights that you see in the Masonic Bible representing the three candles, or even on the floor of our bars, the three candles. You only need to light the candle if you're getting up. May I ask you about that for a minute? If you're in the dark, and the dark is ignorance, absence of intelligence, absence of common sense, even, how do you have an intellect to know to strike the match? How do you know to light the candle to get the light if darkness is ignorance? So you see where deception came in. Beings that are in darkness move about the light. People in light cannot see darkness. While you're on earth, you look to the day, you know there's light, and right outside the Earth's atmosphere, you know there's darkness. Which is more, the light that's around the planet or the darkness that is the universe? So, which one would be more likely when the supreme would dwell in that light that is contained and restrained within an atmosphere based on reflection, or in a boundless universe? In a boundless universe. The darkness is, but there must be intelligence. If that intelligence or if that darkness is transformed into light by combining hydrogen with helium atoms to make them create a cycle, to create a sun, to send out a beam, exploding, creating solar systems, there was some intelligence involved there. But that intelligence was in darkness, and the results were the light. So where the darkness was intelligent, because in the Bible it said what? It doesn't say before, in the beginning, God gave heaven and earth, and what? The void, the darkness upon the face of the deep, and the spirit of God moved upon the surface of the waters. God did. And the void of the darkness upon the face of the deep, and the spirit of God moved upon the surface of the water. The spirit of God was moving in, and then he said that there be. And that's when he started to change the action of consideration. You know that? God created and then had to stop to see whether it would be good. He looked and he said, and he saw that it was good. So when things got into light, it did not necessarily mean that they were good. Because God created these lights and then said, saw that the light that he created was. So the light was not necessarily good. That's why in Islam they had Nur and Nar. And Nur represented the light, and Nar represented the fire. And therefore that light was not necessarily good. It was always, as I said years ago, in dependence on how one uses it. You can strike a match to light a candle to die, but you can strike a match to burn down the house or kill it. There is temperament in light. There is no temperament in darkness where there is no intent. Because in darkness, your only fear is tripping over something you don't know is there. So if you hold still, hold your peace in darkness, divine miracles. There is light, there is doubt. Okay? You'll know because your mind will reach a point where you start to say to yourself, there is more to know. There is more to know. That hunger will cause the divine when you come forward if you discipline yourself. Yeah? And there is more to know. It's not out of reach. It's out of trust. I can't pass the secrets on to people until I know you that they've been protected for thousands of years. They love me faith. Yeah? Yes. It's a simple word.
So it's good to see before darkness and before the day.
Sometimes it wouldn't make a difference, but once you go to sleep, you don't see the light is on and whatever. So it really doesn't make a difference. Those are religious mythologies created wild rules in certain schools on that what? Short path, right? Or they had to teach you the way they built. In order for you to digest those foods thoroughly, and to teach you as long as if I believe it. In order to get you to believe it. Because all it was about is belief. You know, you had to be before you had to know that and need for beliefs. And also, here it's a those living God. Why? Because the monotheistic principle, which is the principles of the physical, with void of any spiritual knowledge, is always consumption by fire due to judgment. In this case, the God of light is not using it for intellect, he's using it as fire. The way they use the Torah is they borrow it from the Sumerian was oil, flame, light, in the sense of burning light. So this God warns you that if you are not obedient to me, out of whatever other gods that you chose, I will burn you up. You hear me? And they taught that in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. If you're not obedient to me, On judgment day, I will judge you and I will burn you up. So the principle of monotheistic beliefs is fear of being burnt up, being consumed by fire. Meanwhile, they teach you, dwell in the light, stay away from the darkness of ignorance, dwell in the light, and then tell you at the end of the river that we're going to burn you up. If you don't do everything the way I say, do it. Well, it's right, because you're dwelling in the light. And it's the sun and the environment that ages and kills you. So you're already in that bad if you are a physical being. If you are a spiritual being, then you spend a short time that you walk under the sun's rays to raise yourself spiritually past the care of your physical body. And it will care for itself. It will sustain you if you stop patronizing it and flattering it and gorging it and stuffing it and painting it and all the different things you do to it, where it becomes incapable of performing for itself. You reign your own body. If your body is just a vehicle to carry the spirit to you through this earthly journey, and it's going to be raising yourself in degrees spiritually, so that by the time you take the garment of flesh off, the rest of the parentheses just blend back into the rays. You see what I'm saying? So it's not best to sleep in dark or light or light or dark. Because regardless, when you go into that state, past sleep paralysis, into what they call sleep, you don't see anything. And if anything is going to attack you, it's because you allow it to, and you believe it can. Right? Yes?
Does lucid dreaming or waking sleep have to do with a certain state of consciousness?
Say it again.
Does lucid dreaming, or it's called waking sleep, have to do with a certain state of consciousness?
Yeah, it has to do more so with the vibrations of the body. The body is vibrating at a certain pace. That's why you have people say, when I'm getting ready to go into a transcendental state, I'm going to drop my body down to alpha wave. Now, why would they go to the first letter of the Greek alphabet, which would be Alif or Aleph or A? Why would they say, so where is man vibrating? Well, man is vibrating at 8th up. He's vibrating at an octave above. And he has to make that journey down to alpha wave, where his body therefore is in tune with the Om. You follow that? Now, in between those, everybody knows the octave is 8 tones, right? In that, let's say, progression of sound going down, there are other beings who are able to vibrate in and out. And those beings that within your dreams, because while you're dreaming, you start dropping down. You ever listen to a cat when a cat is sleeping, how it purrs? You ever heard a cat? Anybody ever heard a cat before? And a cat purrs when they sleep? You know, so you purr the sound? That's what they're dropping down. Human beings usually drop no farther than out of 8 to 4, so they stay in what's called sleep paralysis. They're in a paralyzed state, and oftentimes if they wake up at that point before their body has regressed to one start to turn back up to wake up, they'll wake up and their body will still be asleep. And their eyes will open and they will be paralyzed. That's the term sleep paralysis. And in that state, the body panics. And it goes to the brain and shoots directly to the hippocampus area of the brain and starts to find solutions to things on this side and that side at the same time, and plus hallucination begins. People start to hallucinate, they start to have visions of things that they create or have experienced. And so remember, man is a creator and plus a designer. So he can design monsters to terrorize him, or angels to guide him. He can fly as high as he wants, or swim as long as deep as he wants. In that world, at the 4th level, coming down from the 8th up. You follow that? So it does definitely have to do with the mental state, which has to do with the vibration level of the human being. Buddhists have to learn to travel that object back and forth at random. And that's what Paul wants to teach people. Our man starts at the 8, drops to the 7, and 6, and 5, and stay down. At any given time, you can go into alpha, as they call it. Your body just purr. Your heart starts to slow up. You breathe less, and then you start to make that transit state. If you go all the way down to 1, you with me? Then you can get a new boost. Just like when you're extremely tired because you stayed up for 2 days, you find at the 48th hour, you get, or the 24th hour, you get a boost. And you get this, what they call a second breath. You're working on equity. Now, you're no longer working on blood. That extra boost you get when you're extremely tired and driving, all of a sudden you say, I was up. Boom, you can surge, you're able to drive over 100 miles. That's moving to the ether. When you learn to take these journeys back into yourself, if I want to turn inward, when you get down to 1, you learn to vibrate there, then it's easy for me to take over into the ether world. Because on the other side of this 1, hydrogen existence starts 1 ether. And all the way up to 8. When you get to, in the element sense, what happens, the element sense is from hydrogen to 8. And 8 is oxygen. You see that? A gas is formed. So when you come down from 8 to 1 and you walk to ether, when you get to 8 ether, you make a transformation into etherium form. Another gas is formed. Another form of gas. And you're able to travel that ladder backwards and forward. And if anything begins to happen to you on the physical plane, between 8 and 1, all you do is drop the vibration level and transport your essence into the etheric world and wait to see what happens in the physical. If the physical body becomes damaged to the point where you no longer use it, but you have a job to do, you're able to pick anyone from your family who can vibrate on the same kind of blood, because the liquid is the oxygen, water, H2O. Same kind of blood draw, you can jump into their body to get a certain assignment done. Oftentimes, relatives will come back to a person in their family who they think are vibrating the same, and the person becomes afraid of seeing this gaseous speaking image in the room, and the adrenaline produces a serum that cuts off or gives a gift where this walking cannot get into your body. So your grandmother who came back to get a message to someone who needed them comes to your bed at the head of your bed, but then she turns and leaves. And she just says, I'm well, everything's fine, because you closed the gate and failed. If I would have to learn that monotheism created air to cut you off from the spiritual world. Their whole philosophy, their whole doctrine of religion is based on stay afraid, fear Allah, fear the Lord, fear retribution, fear hell, fear judgment, fear, you understand? So you don't stay in a celestial state, a bliss state. You stay in an ever-regretful state, because it's rare and impossible as a predominantly physical being most of the time not to do disagreeable things. Right? And once you do a disagreeable thing, and you get in the Lord, if you do one sin you're going to hell, you inherit a new, more dreadful attribute, guilt. And what guilt will make you say, what difference does it make? I'm already going to hell. I'm already a bad person. I'm already a disagreeable person. So I might as well not try to make the journey back. And that could not be far from the truth. Once you learn not to fear, once you take on the role of God, take on responsibilities with your body and your soul and your spirit, those three great principles, that's the three great sins. When you conquer them, you conquer it all. And you can make that journey back and forth. That's what home is about. Home is not, you study books and you read about books around. I don't need home, I don't see what doing these books. He talks about waiting until the people who join home because they want a transcendental meditation journey get fed up and leave. And those people who want to stay will be here, but you change the thought. Because you have to think, or I'm going to never go to the same shit. So it means you got to start over. If you try to get up and pick up where you were at, it's impossible because you put a new thought in between. That was, I got to get up. But where's the chair? That's the point. That chair's more fun. I'll sit over here. Water is over there. I'm bored. My brother's in trouble. Look at my ankle. It hurt. Hurt makes for a whole bunch of things in the subconscious mind. What's hurting for? I need somebody flying on it. The mind is so powerful, it works so fast, it starts to digest that information so quickly that you're all that down. You gotta start all over again. Sit down, in the middle, meditate, right? And then start to contemplate, and then rebuild it again. Usually it's worth the time. If you're too lazy to get that much, that extra moment to it, then you're really not entitled to the minutes.
We usually explain the term from impact back down to one.
Remember, I used octave because I was using something I was hoping everybody would understand. This is totally unique. And little C would be the most destructive.
Okay, now we will explain that what certain exercises says we're able to travel from these occupations.
That's what Asaru is teaching. We just started now. I've just introduced you to this tone of home. This tone in the human voice is the replica of the sound of the multiple big bangs that took place. Different explosions in the universe, and they finished exploding. That's why my babies go chet. That's why they go ga. They remember that vibration as they were coming into existence. They can hear the universe from the other side. They hear things rubbing, create friction, create sparks, create light. They hear chet. That's why they work chet for creation in Hebrew as well as Arabic and Arabic. As it is called in Sumerian, Dot or Hat in Egypt means that dead body, Hat, that dead existing thing waiting for transformation, right? Asaru is supposed to teach you this gradual transformation. First, I gotta teach you how to sit down and focus your energy, conquer the material world, the things that surround you seem to be so important to you. So Father, that's one. Or to give you the power to be able to cook it off because you're in a world where the main thing you have to do, but be able to have a certain tone or note in your mind that when you hear it being owned, it automatically starts you on that journey. Father, this is a process of learning. It's not about saying, tell me exactly what I can say so tomorrow I can put it on. If you did make the transition, when you got down to the fourth octave, when you got down to the fourth note, the thing on octave, all kind of demons that are in your subconscious mind that have been planted in there by the media intentionally. Every monster that you've ever been taught to believe is real and did as a child before the mind of logic and evaluation to grow while you were still in an imagination state. Every little creature you saw and everything you envisioned, you believe it or not, you stored it in your heart as real. And these are the things that you shape to create your nightmares now that you're a grown man. You just make them a little more sophisticated than they were when you saw them on television. It might have just been a headless creature who was chasing around Daffy Duck in a cartoon when you digested, or the headless horseman who scared people with a lantern and no head from Halloween. These things stay inside you, in your essence. You follow that? And they're dormant, waiting to come out. And you can combine them the way you take Mr. Potato's heads and put little pieces together. You can put little pieces of memories of fear and traumatize yourself. So you just can't go jumping back there. That's what happens to many people who join these meditation groups, and they're on a very high spiritual level because their mother and father genetically were high spiritual people. And they get there and they get possessed. Or they go to a Pentecostal church and they get possessed. Or they go to a Yoruba meeting and get possessed. Or to a Santeria and they get possessed at a Shango meeting. Or spiritual Shango Baptist, spiritual Baptist in the island. They get possessed the first day. Other people sit there and say, why is it not bothering me? I'm not getting the Holy Ghost. How come I'm not throwing it out? How come I'm not? You understand? Those people were able to make that leap because somewhere within their fourth generation on both sides, which is eight, again, four in the mother and four in the father, somewhere in that period, coming over this way, somebody was very spiritual, or someone dove into Shango, or someone dove into Yoruba, or someone dove into Voodoo, or Vodé. Someone dealt with some of these things in your family, and they have opened the porthole in your genes for anybody's soul to step in. And they haunt you and they torment you until you learn psychic self-defense. And how to go back down that channel for that semi-vortex and patch that hole up. So it's something that has to be taught to you gradually. So while you're learning to open this channel, you also learn the psychic self-defense. So you become a spiritual warrior when you get back there. But there's beings who will have to fight off this in your mind. And that's why Native Americans often tell people when they're in a sweat lodge, and they're going through these things, smoking these coyotes, they take them on these journeys, and in these journeys they come up against demons and monsters, and they'll tell the chief or Maku, or tell them this is a demon that's inside you. These are illusions. You've got to defeat them. But when you're standing there, you see a mountain lion, first on a mountain, getting ready to leap on you. And you got to remember that you were taught by your Maku or your shaman, whoever, that this is an illusion that you're creating. And the more ferocious as your fear increases. And once you overcome that, then that mountain lion disappears. And then you start a little further down and you come across a tremendous rattlesnake. And you're caught by this rattlesnake. Because you have seen movies in your lifetime where people were caught and trapped by rattlesnakes, and you said, what would I do? And the moment you added the I in it, you planted it in your subconscious mind as being a part of your life. What would I do if Godzilla came over the mountain? You've now instilled Godzilla in your mind forever. What would I do if Dracula had me cornered? What would I do if the Wolfman was chasing me through the woods? And that's why they make these kind of movies. But they know as God that you're constantly taking that unshaped asphalt and bringing it into a shaped asphalt, taking an uncut stone, a heap of mud, and constantly cutting bricks to build this strong character. And in that they must inflict, or they must implant all of these kind of thoughts that deviate and take you off the path. They work with us with power. They work with us with lust. They work with us with greed. They implant all the things in us that interfere with that direct path. You know what I'm saying? So you have to take that journey gradually, step by step. But you also put on, as the Bible would say, you put on the armor of God. You see, because you're going to fight the dragon. You become a dragon slayer. But you are the architect. You are the fashioner and the shaper and the former of the dragon. And only you can overcome the dragon when you give back the world of illusion. It's a battle. So you can definitely do it. Yes, anyone?
My question was, when you referred to stepping back from the physical and looking at the body and for what's happening is just a play. Should we step back as far as to look at ourselves from above and to see our physical body, or should we look at it from inside out, like look at the body as far as this isn't me, what he's saying, the mind will these desires are not me. And the other things that you said, as far as step back, as far as look at ourselves from above and try and like control our bodies like a playmaster, or just let it happen.
No, you have to take control of it. But saying it is written in a book, so I can introduce the thought. Saying it from the book will not make it happen. It's just when I say something like, this is what you must do, this is written so that you can get an idea of what you must do. You can't read that and use that as the means for which to accomplish it. You know what I'm saying? You then have to learn the path of finding yourself, or turning yourself inside out, or making that inner journey. And believe you me, for lack of a better word, you're not that far away spiritually from what you want. Otherwise, you would not have been led to this position. You wouldn't be sitting here right now aspiring to find out. There are people out there that are roaming endlessly in the Las Vegas mind. They're nowhere near where you're trying to come. So some part of your gene, be it family or whatever, is leading you towards this path for a reason. Don't try to solve it all at one time. This is the first time that I'm even talking to people of Amu one-on-one. Most of the time, I'm preaching fire and brimstone about the coming calamities of the world. And I didn't put time aside for the spiritual people because I was busy trying to reap the harvest of the physical people to get them ready. And find out so many of them are wasted. They're so caught up in that world, it's a waste of time. It's time to focus on you. That said something that said spiritual sons and daughters are gathering. The physical people are gathering every Saturday night. But if you can gather here on Saturday night and be that spiritual person, you gather here only on Saturday night but have no concern about the spiritual, you're dead. You know what I'm saying? This is just the first time. There's going to be more things happening. More was supposed to happen today with your alignment. Maps are supposed to be set out on the grass in circles of 9. You're supposed to have certain chants so you can learn the chant. Start getting your body ready for that transition. But nature says it's not ready yet. And we're trying to do a spiritual circle. And we have to wait until it rains. You can't put the mats down after sitting in water. Or we can sit and we can talk and prepare ourselves. There's a journey more than just a little bit to read in the ground. Not far. It's about being ready. Alright? How many people did fast? That's good enough. You're starting. You're good. Yeah, somebody say something there.
This is why myself, Bob, 6, we got an actor. Myself, and ever since then, I've been looking for a master. I thought I was influenced by I used to be into martial arts, watching body flips, and I would see like Shaolin monks and the things they were able to do.
Or they doing television.
Right. They doing television.
You haven't seen none of them do it in reality. No, I'm serious, because I studied martial arts for many years too. And you know, go over there, you don't never see none of them jump up from trees that are 30 feet tall. You only see them in Bruce Lee movies. And when I went over there to study, I wanted to see them do the things that I saw, you know, catch a bullet in your hands and all that kind of stuff. I was told that's not real, that's a movie. After I paid the flight over there.
And so, the thing is, wow, why is it that all the people around me don't really seem to know anything? So, from that point on, I started on a journey of searching for what has and spiritualism. Right, because you are one that's the spiritual master, or you want to die, or you want to stay. And so, boom, at the age of 19, I stumbled onto you. No one told me. I just went looking. I woke up and it's like I had to find this individual. And I said to myself, first person I come to, I'm going to go to them and ask them, where can I find that's one of these from? And I saw brother and wife. And I said, well, where you guys based at? He told me, I said, fine, how do I get there? He told me how, and I went there. And I said, how do I become a part of this? What is this? And the math part of it, you know, and he said, well, no, but I know that some, you know, I'm looking. And so I said, fine, that's when he gave me my Asaru, and so on and so forth. Then as, you know, I've gone through my life, there's certain things that occur to me that I don't know if it's my mind doing it or what. One of the things I'm experiencing or not, which is so many times throughout my life, I'll see something, and as if I lived it, I ended my life, and I got a fresh start, and I started from that point on. And it keeps happening as if my whole life ended, I lived and died, and then I started from that point on. Constantly going throughout my whole life. I mean, like, once a month, I'll be at a point. Wow, it's as if I lived that whole life, my whole life existed, died, came back, then I started at that point.
You know, what I hear is at 5 years old, you was 2 years ahead of yourself. Because at 7 years old is when the greatest part of a child's imagination comes in. The reason why I use imagination is because that's when they start imagining themselves things that they are not, or things that they can be, or they wish to fly. Earlier, everybody put a cape on when you die, of course, the woman, because they don't know about a school where they can learn to fly a plane yet, but they're fascinated by flying, so the imagination sets in. But that's part of the 7-year cycles that has to do with every human being's zero time reference. That starts with 7 and it keeps on multiplying. At one time you did that from 9 to 9, and at first force did it from 6 to 6, but you're falling back to 7 and taking away certain of the strands, and you're back to 7, so you move at 7 to 14, 21, 18, goes on like that, keep going like that, 21, etc. So you probably are having a loop, they call a spiritual loop, is you are something in your younger life jilted you and caused you to speed up in time. An incident in your family, it could be a travel, death, and I'm not trying to start a psychic reading. It could be any of a number of things that gave you that jolt, and it pushed you up 2 years, frankly. And as a 5-year-old, you turned around and looked at people, and they didn't have anything to offer. And that's when you made it's like a rebirth. And you wind up again at 14, another rebirth. And it keeps on going through cycles like that. As you get older and you're a seeker, what happens is these times lap over and you become fed up. What you're calling starting all over again in life is I'm fed up that this portion of my life is not fulfilling to me. I must find another route. And then that other route takes you to another level. So you keep feeling, I'm being born again. I have a new life. You're not the only one that does that, but many people do that. They get fed up with stages in their life, in their own mind, and they write them off as new little time records that start again. You're not really starting again. You're really a combination of all of the thoughts, of all of the imagination, all of the feelings that you ever had, but you feel obsolete ones, and therefore you have the ability to erase them out your subconscious mind. But if needed, you take effect. You know what I'm saying? That's why you're able to say, well, when I was 5 years old, I looked around and I saw that the people were not respected. You still have scored. If I was asking that hidden some mental part, but it's still sees of your life that appeared to shape the moment. You knew at that time you was a seeker, that you was not a person on a spiritual path. You didn't know what spiritual path even meant back then. But you knew you was on a journey somewhere. Most people do. But most people we get sidetracked by so much of the advertisements, advertisements, and the excitement, the bicycle, the basketball court. We get sidetracked by chasing the girls in the schoolyard until we lose the most important parts of our life. We bring it back to your so-called religious scholars. They stand from 1 to 13 with masters. And then at 13 were declared a man. And then from 13, by the time they got to 19, they were married and had a family. You follow what I'm saying? Those are what that is still within inside you, in your chromosome. These things that happened in your past are still in your present. You're living in a circle of time. Time is not moving forward or backwards. You're a part of it. It's expanding in and out and passing you like waves going back and forth. He's not like if I put a dot in the center, go pebble, and it starts to go out, and then keep going back like this. This is what time is. So you have time forces where events can recycle themselves, redo themselves. The waves keep on forcing. And you can see it on sound waves. That's what happens. It bounces and they come back off themselves. Well, the human body is vibrating off sound. So we react just like it. And all our thought patterns are sound. They're right. In order for them to become emotions or energy emotions, they work that way. You see? So don't feel like you're a stranger. The strange part is over because you was on your way to find a spiritual master. And it took you down many schools of thought, all of which are beneficial to you. Because all that you obtain while using martial arts is still beneficial to you if for no other reason you learn to take care of your body. You learn how to exercise and train and discipline your body, which will help you discipline the mind. You know what I'm saying? But those are just leaping thoughts. You know, the disciples, you're still in tune with yourself. Everybody is seeking a spiritual master. And sometimes they don't stay with their spiritual master, they're not strong enough. You know what I'm saying? When they find the master's not saying what they want, like I said before, when Moshe or Moses met Melchizedek, what happened? He told him, you're not really ready for me. Because you're looking at me, you think you know what you see. How many times I tell you, seeing is, and hearing and reading is believing. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said, and I went to see those Shalom, and I said, well, what you saw on television? But that was only when they made us see it, and because we saw it on television, we really believed it was meant to jump up on a building up there, flip back there, and then flip back down, you know. We really believed it when we was kids, didn't we? And he could take, steel bars and break them with their hands. We didn't take into consideration the skin and bone and tissue and what they composed of, they got their mind on that. They teach you to think your mind on the other side of that brick. You just got to think through the brick. And you can run the brick, you think all you good at it with these bones, these bristles, and all this, and say, I'm with you on the big thing. I'm with you on the exercise and the college and all that, but I ain't with you when they come down and punch me in the brick. And it won't go through. When they teach you, but if you really believe in your mind, you can break that brick. You'll be able to break that brick. And that's because they have special brick stakes. You want to take martial arts instructor when he's training kids, he touched the wood on the grain. You broke wood on the grain. When you go pop, it's already got the grain going, so he can just about sneeze and break it. Let me go get a piece of teak wood. Or everything, I'm going to see you break some evidence or some teeth. You don't see that, do you? We hit the right spot and break it. Yes. Okay? This is the last question, but I know you're up the line.
All right. This is a question concerning lesson 1 that I had some time back that I really wanted to understand of. As I did my first lesson, I noticed I've seen a few people eventually went to one eye and went to the question of one eye, one eye. I just didn't understand it as far as when you got and turned it. But I passed it, went on. I just really didn't understand it in my first lesson.
In the first lesson, where it tells you about how Melchizedek will come and visit you, you follow? Had it not been told to you and you accept it, it may not have happened. You follow that? Sometimes to make an event take place, a person, especially a graphic person like we are, must be told the event. If you were not taught about a God, would there be a devil? So the principle of teaching about God graphically creates a necessity for a devil. And in the event that a devil is totally eliminated from the subconscious mind, then you don't need to call him God. So you create a scenario that takes a person to another level. And so you say, you know, you are capable of being visited by Melchizedek. You have that ability once you bring yourself to a certain level. And deity in you will bring Melchizedek to you. As a man thinks in his heart, will make that happen. So the first lesson of people who made that kind of contact, those people connected with ethnic core directly to me when they did that. And thus I can get through their ethnic core into their dreams, into their life on various occasions to God. Those who blocked it because they didn't believe it possible did not allow me to make that ethnic connection to them. Thus, I can't get through people core or in contact with them on a spiritual level. I only meet them on the physical plane. Their first lesson was making a link, a silsila, as the lesson explained it, a chain link between me and you, and me and the universe to you. I'm the connection to the Inad, the 9 Inads. And that connection is from me to you. That's what that first lesson is supposed to do. It's supposed to link us. And sometimes we tell people, if you didn't get that first lesson, don't be so hasty to get more books. Go back and study them until you grasp not so much of what the words are saying, but until you have that vision. I agree.
Is that an actuality?
It's an actuality to the person it's happening to. And it's a dream to a person who's looking on. But both worlds are real. I'll explain that. That you can have a nocturnal emission, which means that while in a dream state, you can actually have a physical reaction, then there's definitely a connection between the physical. You can actually, in the university, when students will sleep, we pour water in their hair and they feed the bed. Yeah, we get that stuff too. And your body can actually make a link while you're in your dream. A person can step into your dream physically. Because sometimes when you're laying in your bed and about to wake up, if your brother comes in the room, he becomes a part of your dream and then you wake up. This is not so that only a spiritual being, but there's a doorway left open for beings to get into your dreams if you welcome them. And if you don't welcome them, then the hippocampus area of the brain starts to hallucinate and you start bringing things into your brain that you don't want there. And they traumatize you, chase you, and you wake up in a what? A full sweat. How come your sweat glands is activating if you're just, it's all imagination and no reality? You would be imagining that you're sweating. And wake up dry. But the fact that in a dream state, as they call it, you are actually having a physical reaction tells you that those two worlds are what you call it, mesh and become one. You hear me? So it is a reality. And the people that have me visit them when they need me, have me visit their relatives when they need guidance, and their mothers in the hospital, and the different things, it is real to me and to them. And those people who sit down before their affirmation, and in their home when they make that spiritual connection with that letter they sent me, they put their hands on another, we connect right with each other. And I send energy through that. Stuff you're going to own will lead to you. That is real. Right? What do?